Okay, I'm going to hope that everything is recording appropriately and I don't just spend 10 minutes giving you just a bunch of silence. So looks like my audio is working here on my screen. So let's go ahead and get into it. So welcome to week 6. We are moving right along. So we've got week 6, module 6, module 7, and module 8. So we are 3 weeks away from the end of the term, and you can see here that your grades should be up to date. You know, this is information; these are assignments that you were submitting this past week. So if you've reached out to me for an extension or things like that, make sure you get your writing in. I'm hoping to move through these as quickly as possible, always ideally within 1 week. And you can see here that for the annotated bibliography part 2, that's something you definitely want to make sure that you get in because you need all of that kind of greater understanding with your research to more easily produce the things that we need to write next, which, we're coming down to it, is the rough draft of our final essay, our researched argument essay. So there are a couple of things that I want to highlight in this overview video. First, as always, we want to make sure that we understand the scope of the module. We're going to learn about producing more argumentative thesis statements and how to structure our arguments. So certainly spend time here first, click through these links, read this information, watch this video on effective thesis statement creation. All of that work is going to help prepare you for the writing that you need to do this week. And you've got here some things that you're going to be asked to submit. Now, I've made some adjustments, so I'm actually going to update this page so that way it's clearer. The way this course is initially set up for your peer review, in my opinion, was really, really clunky and not very intuitive. So I've made some adjustments that I hope will make completing peer review work a little easier. And so let's talk about that change. So we do have a discussion board post where you're going to be working to make your case, arguing for something, and you're going to produce some sample thesis statements to kind of engage with some of the thesis creation, thinking about argumentation, and then responding to a couple of your peers' thesis statements and how they were working or not working well. I'm saying the word thesis statement a lot because it's of course the most important 1 to 2 sentences that we write in an academic essay. In the same way that you're not writing these essays for fun, a reader is not reading academic writing for fun either. They're reading to be convinced of something that you're stating to them, or they're reading to be informed of something. So we don't want to hide that from the reader. We want to just give that to them right away and then do the work to prove it to them. And when it comes to argumentative thesis statements, we want to make strong argumentative claims that we then work to support and prove through our body paragraphs. But it starts with a thesis. Now, in your rough draft of our final research argumentative essay, your thesis might change. And that's completely normal and expected, honestly. So you'll have a direction, and then you'll start writing the essay. And then what we want to do at the end, as we read through the body of our essay, we want to think, okay, does my thesis prepare the reader for this? Is it setting them up for this information? And if it is, great. But most likely it won't be completely, and then we'll want to revise our thesis more and more. All right, so we have a standard discussion, lower points, lower stakes, takes less time to do this week. But then we also have the goal of producing a rough draft of our final essay, okay? And these are some of the draft goals of this final essay. So you want to review those, keep that in mind. And this is for my review. So you're going to post your rough draft of the final essay here, and I'm going to read it and offer you some feedback to help you revise. So your goal is just to produce the rough draft this week, and rough means that it's not going to be perfect. So don't, you know, don't be too hard on yourself. Just work to get something as close to the page count that's noted here as you can. We've talked about how you want to expect to spend at least 6 hours a week moving through our course materials each week. And you can expect to spend all 6 of those hours, certainly this week, on our course materials because drafting takes time. And in fact, you might need to spend more, and likely many of you will need to spend more, and I would expect to spend more. I think that you're probably going to need, even for some of our fastest writers, from our fastest workers, somewhere between 6 to 12 hours or even more this week to work on and build everything that we need to for this essay and all of the work for this module. So keep that in mind, but also keep in mind that all of your work this week is going to then give you the material to grow from moving forward, because you're going to get my feedback to help you revise what you produced this week, and you're going to get some of your peers' feedback. And that's what this is. So you have a Module 6 rough draft submission post for peer review, and you're going to post it to this discussion. And then what will happen is next Monday, for everyone who has work in here, and you have to have work in here in order to have a chance to earn the points for this assignment. So you have been able to get some extensions on a lot of material. That's really not going to work for this week, and the extension timeline shrinks up a lot at the end because there's just not enough time left in the term. So you have to get whatever you're able to produce with your rough draft for your final essay into this post. Now, you're not going to have to worry about this this type of peer response professional letter template thing. And in fact, let me refresh this. That should have been removed. Yes. Okay, good. So I have updated this, and now this is what you should be seeing on your screen too. So on 4/28, at the end of that day, you are going to be automatically assigned 2 peers to review, and you have to have work in here for that automatic assigning to occur. So don't forget to post your writing within this space. Okay, let me see here. I think that is it. Those are the biggest things. You look. I want to make sure there's nothing that I'm skipping. Okay. So we have our writing task, research, argument, essay instructions. Let's look at those. So just like with our argument analysis essay, if we utilize the instructions to help us build the essay itself, then we're more likely to produce something that's closer to what the rubric is, something that is, closer to how your writing is going to be graded. So use these writing instructions as a guide for you. You have been researching, thinking, planning all semester to get to this point right here. This final essay is worth 30% of your final grade. So all of the work you've been doing has not been for nothing. It's been to help you write this essay to the best of your ability. So in this, we discuss strong thesis statements, discusses organization ideas, and then it kind of walks you through what you want to think about for your final draft and your final revisions, and ultimately where we are getting to for this essay, which is at the end of the day, a 7 to 10 total page essay with at least 7 total sources. Most of those will be secondary sources. One ideally should be a primary source, right? So some direct, some kind of direct source related to your topic. And that's where where we want to get to by the end of the term. So that's a couple weeks away, right? So you can see here that our rough draft, which is kind of like a half draft, I'm expecting to see an introduction and several body paragraphs to get to those, 4, 5-ish pages. It's not going to have your conclusion or anything like that in there just yet. And then you'll get feedback from me and your peers in the following week, and you'll work to revise to a final draft in Module 8. Give yourself the best chance to earn as many of those 300 points as you can. So that is what you have up for this week. Think of that rough draft as like a half draft, and that should make a lot of sense for those of you who took English 111 with Ivy Tech and with Ivy Online in particular, because English 111 utilizes a half draft, full draft process. Now, if you got English 111 somewhere else, or you had credit for it, that might sound a little weird to you, but effectively think about producing up to about half of the essay or a little bit more, and then getting feedback on that direction to finish it out, and then build your conclusion. Make sure your final references page works cited page, all of that is correct and good to go. You can do this. Remember, one step at a time, and just focus on getting yourself to the drafting phase of your writing as quickly as you can this week. I would recommend today, tomorrow, going through the learning activities, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, trying to spend an hour, maybe up to 2 hours if you can afford it, focused on drafting out and building your essay, using your sources, pushing forward and trying to make your argument related to your topic, and see how far it can get you. Hopefully, it's going to get you to around 3, 4, 5 pages that you can then submit to me for some comments, to your peers for some comments, and then you can keep pushing forward, maybe getting more sources, new sources over these coming final weeks to get us to a final draft. Okay, that's it for today. I appreciate your efforts. Reach out to me with any questions, thoughts, or concerns as you move through this week's work. Otherwise, expect a little check-in from me later this week with some reminders, and look for some feedback on your argument analysis essay, and look for grades on future work or on work you've just submitted in Module 5. Okay, take good care.